All right, what is going on, my dudes? So we're back here today with some war content in the off season with Nebula. So, it is currently Monday night. All right, so Nebula and Karnak have been buffed in game for about 12 hours now, maybe a little bit less. And I thought both buffs were definitely improvements to the champions. Karnak is not my champ, not gonna be doing anything with him. But Nebula, I enjoyed quite a bit. I definitely enjoyed Nebula quite a bit. I had a lot of fun making the videos I made on her today. I had fun making the Karnak videos too, actually. I did the 4-star Karnak and Labyrinth. That was pretty fun. But aside from like Karina's challenge, I feel like that's a great place to look at like Karnak's buff. But Nebula overall, man, is just feeling like a good champ to me. It's going to be really actually useful for a lot of stuff. And I have her in Alliance War today. And she's going to be doing some very impressive stuff, man. Honestly, truly. Like, I ranked her up pretty much for this video. Also because I had all this tech stuff, so I had to make a decision. And I was like, yeah, let's go with Nebula, man. Like, you know, I feel like she deserves it. I have 2 T5 CC catalysts, right? You know, check this out. I'll show you in 1 second. Let me go in. Hold on. This is getting a little blurry. Let me try and fix that real quick. Oh, but anyway, what I wanted to show you right here. Got Aries. Get you a man who looks at you like Mike looks at Nebula. All right, man. So yeah, I basically went into like, you know, our chat and I was like, yo, no one will go on 8. I want to try something, right? So what I want to try is this. This is a pretty darn solid trio where 2 champions are super duper usable for war, okay? Proxima is obviously the synergy champ here. I like Proxima, but what we got going on here is this essentially. When you run the Suicide Masteries, right, gain 70% of power each time and immunity prevents a bleed or poison effect. This can't trigger more than once every 12 seconds. So essentially what happens here is that if you run the Suicide Masteries, which I do recommend for Nebula, then you're starting with just under a bar of power. So it's almost like you're starting with a Power Start 1 boost, which I value very, very highly. Now, I haven't tested it because I'm not going to use this boost in the off season, but this might make you start with just under 2 bars of power if you use a Power Start 1 boost, which is just kind of nuts, man. The potential there is nuts. And then over here with Proxima, we have a great synergy here. Start the fight with 10 electroshock charges. So it's going to make all the ramp up so much faster. And this is going to be a very solid trio here for a lot of fights that Nebula is going to be able to take, man. So up first, we're going on path 8 in section 1 with a very common defender. And that's going to be Warlock on 8. He's here almost every single war. He's probably the best champion for this node. Okay. And we're going to be doing 3 fights with Nebula in this video, and we're going to be doing different things in all of them. So this is Buffed and Balanced, Power Drain, Blood in the Water, Divine Barrier, right? Heal Block passive, but that's okay because we're a robot, right? Don't have to worry about that. Essentially, we're going to go on in here, and the idea was I'm going to bait out special ones, and I'm going to get shocked by him, right? That was my idea to make things go. This is the first fight I did with Nebula in War since I ranked her up. So I was like, all right, probably gonna have to mess around with this guy a little bit. I do not want to parry because there is, he's just shut off right now. When I have 10 charges, he's shut off, okay? So what I want to do here is build up close to a special 2, right? So at this point, he's gonna go for a special 1. I'm going to stay back a little bit, hold block. As you can see, so much more practical nowadays to build up these charges, okay? So now watch this. Keep watching. Ready? And that's the first fight. So that went really, really well, man. Really, really well. So I believe we only put on 21 shocks instead of 40. I'm going to assume that's from the infection. I'm not entirely sure. Who knows, man? But we have a really funny bug coming up after this, too. So, a couple bugs, maybe. A lot of bugs in this update. But up next, we have Dr. Strange on Encroaching Stun, Stupefy, and Power Reserve. Now we're going to start looking at Nebula's power control potential, okay? On her special 1, 100% chance to inflict a Power Lock debuff, and also 100% chance to inflict a Power Drain, okay? Depleting all their power. Now, keep in mind, there is the absolutely terrible, awful, high ground global, okay? So I'm going to end this fight quite low in health. However, I really don't think I should. I think I should end this fight at around maybe 70% health. But you'll notice, right, especially when we have a shock on the opponent, high ground goes a lot faster. So at this point, there's going to be a lot of block damage that's almost unavoidable, right? So I definitely hate this global quite a bit, but as you can see, Nebula's doing quite good. We're throwing the special 2 to go for, look at that, 5,000 on the block, man. That's just silly. That's just silly, right? But yeah, Nebula completely handled that fight. So if there's no high ground BS, right, she's going to be amazing for that. If the defender is not a high ground defender, she's going to be able to shut down just about any champion there. Doctor Strange had passive power gain, which makes him one of the hardest defenders there. Here I'm throwing in 2 potions because why not? I'm pretty high at the moment. I'm also going to put on a combat regen boost because I have one in overflow and the season starts in 2 weeks, so why not? So yeah, I couldn't find them, but this is basically spite, and you can't really knock them down or else they're going to gain more power and everything, right? So APOC is normally a pretty hard defender, right? But we're going to go for the nice special 2 here, man. We're going to go for the nice special 2. That's the goal for this fight, okay? Now, check out this bug. As you guys know, you can't purify APOC's his debuffs. So my bleeded poison immune robot is now bleeding and has a poison on herself. And I said to myself, well, that's just lovely, because now if he throws a special 1, I'm either going to get, you know, more damage on me or a weakness, right? And he's probably going to throw it, and I don't want the degen or the concussion on the special 2. So here comes a weakness, okay? But you know what? That's honestly okay, because watch this. We have our 20 charges. And even with a weakness, watch his health bar. Rank 2. Nuked. Completely nuked. Like, it's freaking nothing. Now, with that fight, I started with 0 power, so it was like guillotine wasn't even there, right? Obviously, Proxima helped, but I could have built up to, 20 normally. But like I feel pretty comfy going into that fight with just Nebula by herself. Granted, if that bug didn't happen, right, with the bleed and the poison, it would have been so much easier. But even with it, we were throwing our special 2 after 30 seconds. So we built to 2 bars of power in 30 seconds, right? Very, very, very easily against Apocalypse. Now, one tough place that Apocalypse is often found is on the EMP modification node, right? The mini node 24, I think it is. Nebula's got to be a top option there, man. Like, we usually use Doom for that. Doom is obviously really good for it, but Nebula is going to gain shock charges every single time EMP modification is going to be applied. So it's going to be even easier to get to 20 charges. The thing is, after this buff, Nebula gets to 20 charges so easily. And if you synergize her properly, you can get there even easier, right? And there aren't many defenders in the game who's going to survive 40 shocks from Nebula. Keep in mind that this was with the Apocalypse weakness. This was with the weakness right here. And it's only rank 2. So Nebula, man, is looking like a really solid buff, man. Really, really solid. So definitely pretty thrilled with this performance. I could do more. I might fight with her more, but I don't really feel like healing up. That high ground, she's not great for high ground just because she puts, shocks on, and that's going to be a lot of block damage. So I wouldn't recommend using her for like too many high ground defenders. But what interested me more than, the high ground, than the fight in general, was just the fact that how easily she shut down Doctor Strange and took control of the encroaching stun node, which I thought was, what I wanted to showcase. So I think she did a really good job there. So in the future, when high ground isn't a thing and she's not, and who knows if it's going to be adjusted because it's absolutely freaking ridiculous, she's going to be really good for just encroaching stun in general, man. The guillotine synergy is really powerful, and you start with close to a bar of power. The Proxima synergy as well is super duper powerful. If you go in with this trio with the power start 1 boost and you're starting at just under 2 bars of power, you build to 20 shocks in like 10 seconds, and then you parry and do a combo into a special 2, there's not much that's going to survive, man. So I feel like Nebula could be a really decent champ for war and just questing in general, man. So yeah. Super cool to see her doing stuff in War, right? But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop your boy a big old like. Comment what you think about seeing the new buffed Nebula and War in the comment section below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future Nebula gameplay coming to you eventually. I might take her to rank 3, so who knows? Definitely liking her a lot. I'll be seeing you around.